Hi guys, we're here today, lucky enough to be joined by choreographer Philip Joel. Say hello to Samworth.
Hi everyone, how are you?
I'm pretty sure everyone's all right. We can't reply, but I'm pretty sure everyone's okay. So, would you like to take us briefly through your career as a choreographer?
So I started my career as a dancer to start off with, and I spent a good, I would say, 6, 7 years as a professional dancer.
Okay.
And then I kind of was an ensemble member, moved to dance captain, assistant choreographer, and then I was very lucky to be kind of given my choreographic break about, well, my first ever one, I was 22, 23, but I would say kind of my big break as a choreographer, I was 25, 26.
Okay.
Um, and that was Closer to Heaven, which was at the Union Theatre with the Pet Shop Boys and the writer Jonathan Harvey.
Okay.
And I was really lucky that that show, like the 4 week run, sold out in something like 24 hours or
Oh
something
wow.
like that. Um,
Congratulations.
yeah, like I mean, it was amazing because I mean, there were times that I couldn't even see the show. There were just no tickets for
Yeah.
the creatives. So that amazing buzz with it. And I was really lucky that I got some really lovely reviews. And
Okay.
there were people from America that saw it. And so then I got a invitation to be flown out to America to choreograph the show, and
Nice.
the producers of Closer to Heaven then had a couple of other UK tours and other shows they needed a choreographer for. So that's kind of where it all took me, really. And that was all from, I remember getting a message being asked if I was interested to do Closer to Heaven by the director, and that was through a Twitter message.
Okay.
So, I mean, it's always that thing of like, yeah, I would love to kind of go, I did this, and, I really, really, I've worked hard in my career. I definitely have. But I mean, it
Yeah.
was that thing of, people think, how did you get your big break? And I say, I was on the night bus home and I got a Twitter message.
Well, it can come from anywhere, can't it?
Absolutely. Yeah. So it wasn't through my agent. It wasn't through like this big deal that I, wore a really nice outfit and had a meeting with the producers, directors. I did an audition for it. I just got offered it.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So that's kind of how I started my choreographic career. And then it kind of has gone on from there, really.
Gone on from there. Okay.
Yeah.
So when you've got a job as a choreographer, how do you go about kind of choreographing a routine? Where do you start and how does it develop?
Yeah, I think for me, it depends on the project, really.
Okay.
So my first question is, in the number, do I have to, what story do I have to tell?
Right.
So it's either, is it just a really fantastic dance break?
Yeah.
Or do I have to, for example, introduce these two characters and by the end of it, they've got to fall in love? Something like that. So that's where I always have to start the work and be like, because, a choreographer doesn't just teach dance steps and then goes home. They are a physical version of what a normal director does. They help enhance the storyline, but through dance. So, for example, Hairspray has a lot of dance breaks for
Okay. Yeah.
enjoyment, like, as
Yeah.
in you don't go, oh, I've really got to think about this too hard. You just go, okay, here's another dance break.
Yeah.
Where when I did, let me think. So, for example, when I choreographed Miracle on 34th Street, they needed to introduce all the characters in the opening. We needed to make it a New York Macy's parade routine. And by the end of it, the little girl principal part needed to bump into Santa Claus.
Okay. Yeah.
And that is what had to happen. Otherwise, the next scene where she runs in to tell her mum, I've just met Santa, won't make sense.
No.
You know?
Yeah.
So it starts off with, what do I need to tell? And then from there, for me, my inspiration I really get is just from listening to the music.
Okay.
And just
Yeah.
kind of going, oh, I love that accent with the saxophone, for example, or the drum beat at that point. So instead of maybe going with the lyric, I'm like, oh, maybe let's go with the drum beat there, and then let's change to the lyric there.
Yeah.
And then really the rest of it is when I'm in the room with my cast, working out what highlights them off really
Yeah.
well. Because if they look amazing, then I get told I'm really good.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So I always say to my cast day one, look, if I give you a right leg kick and you're like, oh, Philip, I know I'm on the right side, but if I started on the left side and I could kick my left leg, that's going to go here 8 times a week, where this right one is not going to. And I'll be like, swap over, you know,
So it's
like that's
quite a
absolutely.
spontaneous process then, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't really get, you know, unless it's a show that's been done before, like when Closer to Heaven came back, and there was just no time to kind of re-workshop anything because I was doing another show at the time, so my assistant put it in.
Yeah.
And there, you know, I said to her, I was like, there's a look, I was like, if there's a difference in a split, that's absolutely fine, but more like 95% of it has to be the same. But if you have to change a kick or something, fine. But I, you know, that once a show has been made, there's not really a lot of scoop to change it per se.
Yeah.
But you know, I don't get those. I don't get choreographers that have gone in their bedrooms at home, gone right, this is it, and then they get to a thing and find out the cast can't do it, and you're still just expecting your cast to be able to do it. I don't
I
get
think
that.
that makes
personally.
a kind of better quality, being able to adapt and change to the actors. It makes it a better.
I think so, yeah.
thing.
And also, I mean, actors, bless them, I love them because they come up to me on day one and they always say to me, look, I'm not a dancer, Philip. And I go, well, instead of bringing that to me, it's like an empty plate,
Yeah.
bring a plate of what you can offer me and let me choose from that.
Okay.
Because if you give me an empty plate, I've got nowhere to go with it. Where if you go, hi Philip, so I'm not really a technical dancer, but I did a bit of like ballroom and a bit of Latin as a kid, so I've got a bit. Great, okay, that's better than just saying to me, I won't be able to do anything that you give me.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds great. It's a nice like collaborative process.
I think so. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So I did a little bit of research before kind of coming on
Oh,
to
okay.
interview you. Could you tell us the Spanish football story, please?
Oh, okay. Yes, absolutely. So that was, I got offered, so as a choreographer, you kind of get offered some really random jobs at
Yeah.
times.
Right.
And I got a call from my agent and they were like, right, well, let me get this right. There's a Spanish football advert that they want to be released.
Yeah.
And they want it to be with Spanish footballers,
Okay.
but it's something to do with the release of Strictly Come Dancing in Spain. So they wanted the footballers to kind of give you the sense that they're playing football, but with a hint of Strictly Come Dancing being released.
Obviously.
Of course. And I just went, what? And like that brief is not unusual. Like I've had some really unusual briefs from photographers and stuff before.
Right, okay.
So I turned up in East London on a rooftop and the camera crew were there and the footballers were there. And I don't watch football, so I didn't know who anyone was.
Yeah.
And my stepbrother is like a massive football fan. And I was like, oh, this person. And he was like, oh my God, is that footballer? I was like, not a clue. So the photographer was quite a well-known fashion photographer for Vogue, and he was like, I want what did he want? He wanted a can whilst they were scoring a goal.
Okay. Yeah.
All right, fine. Well, that's the moment that you just go, Phil, just smile and just go with it. So anyway, we did it, and the problem with it was the footballers were so thinking so much about the dancing, they looked like they couldn't even play football anymore. So it's not even like we were getting good football shots. So they sent all the footballers home after us trying for about 4 or 5 hours. And the lead photographer just went, Philip, can you just put one of the players' uniforms on and let's just have a go for 20 to 30 minutes. And I went, I can't actually kick a ball. He went, that's fine. We can, if like, he was like, we'd superimpose it. Don't worry about it. So he was like, just do what you were trying to get out of the footballers. So I started just doing it and he started taking pictures and he was like, okay, good. Let's try that again. And what I want that to be a nicer leg line. So I was coming from more of a dance background. Anyway.
Yeah.
Didn't hear anything. Went, great, lovely. So then I get a call 4 or 5 months later from my agent going, they've gone with not using professional footballers to promote the Strictly Come Dancing. They've gone with your photo to go with it. And I was like, oh, so they were like, so you've got your daily choreographic wage, you've got your model wage, And you've got that, you're now the face of Spanish football Strictly Come Dancing wage, which was lovely. I went, great, I can afford my tax bill this year. But I mean, so that was quite funny. But like those jobs are not unusual. Like, I know so many people that kind of go, I turned up for that job and I all of a sudden was the lead or something. So, but that's the story. That's how I became the face of Spanish football.
The face of Spanish football here on Radio Tamworth. There we go.
Brilliant.
So what is the most kind of unusual brief you've had though? Because you said that's not an unusual thing. So what's the most unusual?
Oh, I've had, I choreographed a magazine shoot for Harrods.
Right.
And they wanted, so it was in this industrial warehouse. It was gorgeous, absolutely stunning. And the models were stunning and the clothes, I mean, I was so naive when I walked in. I was like, oh, I like the dress she's wearing. I was like, how much is that? I thought, let's say 2-3 grand. It was like $250,000. Do you know what I mean? And yes, exactly. And then all of a sudden these bouncers were in this, and I was like, oh my God, why is there 6-7 like, you know, really burly men around? And that's because the jewelry all had a bouncer with it.
Each individual piece?
Yeah. So as in the jewelry, the necklace would be picked up from the shop in a car with the bouncer and the jewelry handler, driven to our location. The handler of the jewelry from the shop would put it on the model, and it was my job to then make the jewelry and the dress and the clothing shine. And I was there, what do you mean? And my job was for the model to be able to present the necklace in a gorgeous way. So my job was to choreograph jewelry.
Oh, right. Okay. That is unusual.
Job. Yeah, it is. So like, and then on top of that, so I wasn't allowed to touch the jewelry. I wasn't allowed to, and every time I went near the model to move her, the bouncer was behind me to make sure I wasn't going to nick the necklace. And then what would happen is, once we had got the shot, they would take the necklace and the bouncer would go back in the car and go to the shop.
That is so weird.
But like I thought I was, you know, here to make models look gorgeous. And they're like, no, we need the dress to make it look flowy. And I was just there like, well, I can't control the material of the dress, but I'll go with it. So it was my job to then make the model that's never danced look like she can at least swish it. So all I did was, and swish it, and swish it. And that was my job for 3 days.
Fair enough.
Yeah, so that's a random job as well, to be honest.
Wow, that's cool. So aside from choreography now, you've recently kind of been starting to take Twitter by storm with your new kind of sketches. These are hilarious. If anyone's interested, you can go check them out at Philip Joel's Twitter account. How did those come about? Where did that come from?
A massive mistake, to be honest with you. Yeah, it was, I released the first video and I was just really bored at home and was like, oh, do you know what? I'm just going to make a little video quickly just for my mates to cheer them up whilst we're in isolation. I think we were in week 3 and people on social media weren't afraid to kind of voice their opinions that they were feeling a bit down.
Yeah.
So I was like, do you know what? I miss a place called Freedom Bar in Soho. So I made a video of a normal night in Freedom Bar, if people have ever been on, especially on a Monday night. And I put that online and it kind of started the flame. To be honest with you. So then I thought, oh, okay, well, that got a bit of a laugh. That was cute. So maybe I'll make another one. And then that one kind of then started to escalate. And then it kind of became a daily thing of 4 o'clock that I would release a new video.
Yeah.
But I think the reason why they managed to work was because there is an element of truth in all of those videos from my own personal experiences as a performer, as a fellow creative. And I think a lot of people can resonate with them to a point.
Yeah.
But like I said, they were all a bit of a mistake because, you know, I didn't go out of my way to, you know, I never wrote any of it down.
Yeah.
I just woke up, went into my living room, shut my living room door, and 45 minutes made a couple of clips, put them all together and made something I could release that day. And luckily people found it funny. And then, yeah, so that's kind of how they all started really. But I'm pretty sure even, you know, if isolation never happened, people would have found them funny, but they wouldn't have been as popular because people might not have had as much time to have watched them.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
the isolation is kind of part of the reason why it's been a success as well.
yeah. Well, now from that, of course, it's got even bigger. You've been able to create a kind of a pilot for TV, and you're currently in the process
Yeah.
of
So then
making
I got,
that.
yeah.
How incredible is that?
Yeah, I mean, that's just mad. I mean, people, I mean, I mean, I was really pleased to be asked. I mean, it then was a bit of a catch-22 because I went, oh God. I mean, it was great that I all of a sudden didn't have the pressure of every day having to release a video at 4 o'clock. But then at
Yeah.
the same time, I was like, oh God, now this pilot, Philip, has got to be good because you've been making people wait for a bit.
Yeah.
You know, so, but that was a nice shock to kind of get a message going, hi, we're a TV company, we've been following your videos, would you be interested in having an online meeting about it? So I did, and we really clicked, and they were really like, look, we because I was like, you know, my worry was, I was like, oh God, they're just going to try and script me and make me funny, and I'm just
Yeah.
not going to be good anymore, and that's just going to be naff. And they're like, nah, you're going to write it, you know, we'll be able to help you with things, but it's your baby, and let's make it happen. And I was like, all right, cool, got nothing else to do. So
Of course.
so speaking to you now, we've virtually written the pilot.
Ooh.
And we're just in the process of, well, kind of we're just relying on the government when they can say it's safe enough to start filming, to be honest with you. And the moment we get that, we're kind of ready to go.
That's great.
Which is exciting. Yeah. So, yeah, that's where we're at the moment. So
wonderful to hear. I can't wait to see where this goes and the future of it. I wish you
it
the
should be a
best of luck.
laugh. Should be a laugh at least, you know.
So next question, going to be the last question now. I ask this to everyone that comes on the show, The Sound of Music.
Right.
It's the big one. It's the big one. What is your favourite musical and your favourite song from that show? But the catch is, you can't have worked on it.
Oh no. Okay. Oh, you got me there. I mean, it constantly changes. I mean, I'm going to go with a childhood favourite of mine.
Okay.
That was,
yeah.
And that was Starlight Express as a kid. Like that soundtrack. Oh, have you got a poster?
Right there, yeah.
I mean, that as a kid, I used to wear that CD out. Do you know what I mean? And I would probably, I mean, actually, I'm going to probably say the title song from that show because that did actually go into my rep list at college, and I did audition with that song quite a few times as well. And I auditioned for it, and I got down right to the finals, and I didn't get it.
Oh no!
And that was kind of my one. I was like, oh my God, like the show that inspired me as a kid did really well and all that. And then I just didn't get the call. And they were like, no, we're being contact. You know, did like the 7-8 rounds, and then I just never heard back. But it's all good. It's all good. Other things happened instead. But yes, I'm going to say Starlight Express. I'm going to get old school on it.
Starlight Express from Starlight Express. Well, hopefully, if there's a revival, maybe you'll be involved.
Oh, I'm too old now. Not with these knees. I can't anymore. I wish I could, but I can't even do an online dance class full out anymore.
Okay, thank you for that. We'll get that out on the show later on. So that's about it for the interview for the show. Thank you so much for joining us. It's been great having you on the show. Choreographer Philip Joel, everyone, thank you. If you want to say thank you as well, then you can.
Cheers. Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.